All right, I hope you're ready to get your hands dirty and start coding our web page. The first thing we want to do is add a title for our web page. So we're going to add that information in the head section. And the tag that we need to use is called title. And then we just need to add the name of that title in between the two tags. So let's just put our first web page. Now, like I mentioned before, anything in the head is not visible, but our title is visible in the tab of our browser. It's not in the visual part of our web page, but just in the tab itself. All right, now that we have that done, let me go ahead and show you a plugin you may want to install because it's going to help us type out our tags a little bit faster. So go to the extension manager and let's do a search for tag autocomplete and install this tag right here. So what this is going to do is it's going to give you tag suggestions, and then once you have the exact tag that you want, instead of finish typing this out with the letter E and then the closing bracket, all we have to do is hit enter or return, and brackets will finish typing the opening tag as well as the closing tag as usual, just a little bit faster. So you may want to have that installed to help you speed up your typing out of the tags. All right, let's go ahead and add some content in the body section of our web page. So we're going to add some titles and some paragraphs to get us started. Let's go ahead and start with our titles, and we're going to use our head tags for that. The first one is going to be the H1 tag. And I mentioned previously that there are 6 different types of head tags, 1 through 6. And the thing about the head tags is it serves a couple of purposes. One, for SEO purposes. It lets the search engines know which titles are more important. So the H1 tag is the most important because it's at the very top. And then chronologically, you want to place your additional titles in a specific order, and each one of those titles will be a different size. So an H2 tag or an H2 title will be smaller in size versus H1, then H3 is smaller versus H2 and H1, and each one gets smaller all the way up to H6. So this visually helps our readers know which titles are more important, and the further down you go in the page, you can resize those different titles accordingly based on the importance of that particular title. Now, you don't always want to have very large and then gradually go down to a smaller size font with every title, because you might have 20 titles and then you can't read that final title. Instead, I would do H1 at the largest, and then H2 and on, I will size all of those titles the same, but by using H1, H2, H3, etc., I'm letting the search engine know which parts of my web page are more important. So our first title is photo in all caps. If we take a look at our design, we can see we have photo over here. Then we have 2 more titles. So we're going to add those titles in as well. But first, let's work on our paragraphs. I'm going to go ahead and close this out so it's all on the same line. Okay, let's go ahead and add a paragraph with our paragraph tag, which is simply P. And then we can add some content in here for our paragraphs. Now, depending on your client, in most cases anyways, the client is not going to have the actual content available for their web page. So in that case, you want to add what is known as dummy text. And if we take a look at our design here, we can see that we have some text here that is not readable. It's in Latin. So it's not meant to be read. It's just there for placement so that we can visually see what the content is going to look like. And then once you receive the actual content from the client, you can then add that into your final code. So there's a couple of places where we can get this dummy text. One is directly from Google. We can do a search for lorem Ipsum, and you will find websites that have text generators that will create this dummy text for you. So you can go to one of these sites and then copy some paragraphs and paste it into your HTML file, just like this. Command or Control or C to copy, and then Command or Control and the letter V to paste. So we now have a paragraph in our browser and our HTML file. Now within brackets itself, we do have a plugin that we can install to generate this dummy text for us. So let's go to Extension Manager and let's do a search for lorem ipsum. Scroll down a little bit and install this particular plugin right here. I already have it installed. Now to generate that dummy text directly in brackets, we're going to type out lorem. Then we need to use a keyboard shortcut, which is Control, Shift, and L, and that will automatically add that dummy text for us. How cool is that? Now, if you want to add more than one paragraph at a time, you can do that as well. So after you type out lorem, add an underscore, the letter P, and then a number that represents how many paragraphs you want. So 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, however many paragraphs you want. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 2, and then we need to use that keyboard shortcut again, Control, Shift, L, and now we have 2 paragraphs added. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and undo that with Command or Control and the letter Z twice to get rid of that. I'm just going to select and delete this. So for now, we're just going to do 1 paragraph because that's all we have in our design. Let's go ahead and create another headline. This time we're going to use H2 for the tag. And then for that headline, we're going to type out the tree. Let's add another paragraph. Let's type out lorem underscore P3, then Control Shift L to add 3 paragraphs. And then we're going to do one more headline. This time we're going to do H3. Let's call it sidebar. Another paragraph. Lorem underscore and P, and let's do 2 paragraphs. Control Shift L. Okay, so we have all our content. We have H1, H2, and H3, and you can see that each one of the headlines is a different size because HTML generates styling for our headlines in this case based on the tag that we used, H1, H2, H3. If we used H4, the title would be smaller than sidebar. Now, the one thing you may notice is we have spacing in between our paragraphs here, here, and here, but in the web page itself, it's not generating that space. So in order to do that, we need to create a line break. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to place our cursor right here after that first paragraph. And we're going to use our line break tag, which is BR. Once we do that, you're going to notice that the line breaks right here. I'm going to go ahead and close this just a little bit. If I take that and delete it, you're going to see the text is going to fill in this area again. Okay, so BR breaks the lines up, but we still need another break of the lines in order to create that space. So I'm going to copy this, paste it, and now we have spacing between the paragraphs. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy these breaks with Command or Control and the letter C. I'm going to go to the next paragraph and paste with Command or Control and V. And now we have a break between both paragraphs. We also have this one down here that we need to do as well. So let's go ahead and add that code down there, and that separates the paragraphs over here as well. Okay, so far we have our content, and it's not very pretty. It's very plain and boring. It's not very appealing. So when it comes to HTML, we have to remember that it's more for the structure and content of the page and not so much the appearance of the page. However, we do have some styling options that we can add in HTML. So let's take a look at some of those tags that we can use for styling our text. So let's say we have some text in our first paragraph here that we want to have be emphasized or stand out more. Well, we can make some words bold. So to do that, we're going to use the strong tag. And this has an opening and closing tag as well. And then whatever content is between them will be strong. So we can see that in our browser now, the word strong is more emphasized versus the rest of the text. It's bold. Now, the other thing we can do to emphasize our text is use what is known as the EM tag. And the text inside of these tags will make it italic. So here we have our bold text, and here we have italic text. Now, here's another cool thing. We can take this italic tag and we can actually place it inside of another tag, like our strong tag, and make that content both bold and strong. So I'm just cutting and pasting the end tag, and now it's both italic and bold. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that code because I don't necessarily want it in there right now. I just wanted to show you how you can style your text with HTML. So let's go ahead and delete that if you type that out. So guess what? You have now created and coded your first HTML web page. Congratulations. And I'll admit, it's not very pretty at this point, but we do have some additional content that we need to add to our HTML file. And then in the next section, we're gonna make it all pretty with our CSS coding. So in the next tutorial, we're going to add an image and learn about attributes. All right, so that's gonna be pretty fun and exciting. I can't wait to share that with you. So I'll see you in the next video.